Welcome to the live stream here at the online college. This is something new we're doing. We always try to use different type of platforms. I believe last session we used a different online platform regarding webcasting. This time we're going to try YouTube. Next time we might try a Facebook live stream. Just trying to get a whole bunch of different technologies out there to support your success and get your feedback. What works well with the technology. So please, email us at d2l@fdtc.edu for sessions you would like to be displayed or constructed to help your success in the classroom. Just for a brief introduction, my name is Dirk Reichers. I'm the director of the online college, and there's Mr. Lamar Younginer, and he handles the LMS administration. And LMS is the D2L. I'll kind of turn it over to him for a second to introduce himself.
As Dirk said, my name's Lamar Younginer. Some of you've gotten emails from me in the past. I've spoken over the telephone. Now you get to, I guess, put a face with a name. But, part of our session is going to be on student success. And one of the keys to success is communicating. If you guys have questions, problems, issues, please don't wait till the last minute and try to get this taken care of. Right before an assignment's due, try to give us a call, send us an email, call us, leave us a voicemail, whatever you can do. As soon as you run into a problem so that we can help you.
Great, thank you, Lamar. Just to you guys, we're going to do a whole bunch of these sessions today. This session is going to last from 8 till 9:15, and then our next session will begin at 9:30 and last an hour 15 minutes. We'll also be back live at 2 o'clock, so don't worry if you only can watch bits and pieces. We're going to kind of do concurrent sessions or replays of what we've done before. So if you missed something, don't worry. Like I said, please come back during those other times. Again, we'll be live from this time from 8 o'clock till 9:15, and then from 9:30. And then also we'll be live again starting at 2 o'clock for another hour and 15 minutes. So don't worry if you only can watch bits and pieces or maybe 20 minutes and then you have to do some other obligations. I realize you're an online student, and that's the reason you're taking classes online, because you have a busy schedule. So just want to kind of keep you that aware of that little schedule. But anyhow, today's session is going to be on how to succeed in your online class, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of things to support your success in the classroom. We're going to talk about communication, how you should be using D2L, study tips, setting a schedule, make sure you have your textbook. Do you need a textbook for your online class? What type of textbooks are available? And a host of other whole bunch of different topics. So at this time, I'm going to kind of turn it over to Mr. Lamar, and he's going to talk about the communication aspects of online classes, such as how should you communicate to your fellow students, to your instructor, either through phone, through email, how to reach out to your instructor if you need help with tutoring in the class, or maybe you're unsure of an assignment, who do you reach out to? If you're unsure about a grade on an assignment, who do you reach out to? If you're having technical problems with a class, who do you reach out to? So just a few examples of what Mr. Lamar is going to be talking about.
Okay. Let me just kind of backtrack just a little bit and give you guys an understanding of our background. Dirk and I both went back to school after we graduated, our 4-year college, and worked on our graduate degrees, and we did all that online. So we have a student's perspective of how do you take a class online. Afterwards, we began working in the online college, and we began working with instructors on how do you teach online. We work with students on how do you take a class online. So we've done a little bit of everything. I'm not going to say we know it all or we're the end all be all of all this, but one of the keys to success in an online course from a student's perspective, which I've been and Dirk's been, and also from an instructor's perspective, which we both teach in the online college as well, is communication. You guys have got to learn to communicate with your instructor. You've got to learn to ask questions. You've got to send emails. You've got to make phone calls. You've got to text. You've got to do whatever you can in order to be successful. One of the biggest skills that employers are looking for in the workforce is good communication skills. And one of the places you learn to do that is through your class, whether it's writing a complete email to your instructor, including things like your name, your phone number, your student ID number, and then thoroughly explaining a question, or whether it's posting in the discussion board. Again, we as instructors are trying to help you guys learn how to communicate, which is one of the most important things you can learn to do while you're a student. So again, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we opened this up. One of the biggest mistakes I think students make is they wait until the last minute, they get in panic mode, and then they say, oh my gosh, how am I going to get this fixed? How am I going to get this submitted? And we want to encourage you that as soon as you feel like I'm struggling with uploading a document to the Dropbox, or I can't quite figure out how to reply to another student in the discussion board, reach out to us, ask us for assistance, and we're there for you. I mean, that is our job. That's what we get paid for. Is we are here for students. We're here for student support. And one thing we try to do is, as we hear things that students struggle with in an online course, we will try to take that back to the faculty and say, look, this might not be explained as clearly as it could be. This might not be working as well as it could be. And so we'll take some of the student feedback and turn it into instructor training to help them better explain how something works, or better communicate with you guys as well. So that's just one aspect of strong communication between you and your instructor, and how it works with an online course.
Great, thank you, Lamar. One point I also want to talk upon regarding communication is email. It's important when you reach out to your instructor that you use the FDTC student email account, and I want to give you kind of two reasons why that's important. The first reason why student email is important is because you receive all school communication through your formal email account. How do you get to your student email account? Where is it? If you look on the D2L homepage in the news area, we have a little news blip about how to access your D2L or your school email account regarding the format and the password. Remember, we use a password system that works on multiple platforms, such as the same password works on WebAdvisor, your student email, and D2L. So that's something to consider when you email your instructor. A second point why you need to use your official school email account is regarding the junk folder or spam folder. If you use a personal email account and you try to email your instructor, more than likely, let's say if it's Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail, that email is going to be sent to the spam, or i.e. junk folder. And depending upon the email settings of the instructor on the computer, he or she might not be able to receive it. However, if you use the official school email account, your instructor will always receive your communication. So that's a really important thing to keep in mind. And also on the flip side of it is your instructor will be sending you emails to your official account and not your Hotmail, Gmail, or Yahoo email account. So that's one thing, it's really important is you check your student email account. And if you don't know how to check your student email account, or if you're having trouble checking it, please feel free to write us at d2l@fdtc.edu, or even better yet is call our help desk, and they'll be more than happy to help out with your student email account. So that's really important is email communication. And another important topic regarding communication to you and your instructor is that verbal communication. I realize you're taking an online course, but a great way to further succeed in your online course, so if you're having trouble, just ask for for the instructor's telephone number. A lot of our instructors provide their telephone number already. Some have Skype sessions or Google Hangout sessions, or maybe even a YouTube live stream session. So please do not hesitate to reach out to your instructor and ask for help, either in the verbal method, through a phone call, or through an email. And also another important piece to keep in mind is that your instructor has a very busy schedule. So please make sure you write her via email or some other form of communication, and you set up an appointment with her. If you just give your instructor a call, maybe he or she will be able to pick up the phone, or there might be in another meeting or teaching another class. So it's important you kind of set up an appointment that's conducive to your schedule and her schedule, or vice versa, to make sure you connect in the way you need to succeed in your class. And talking about communication, one thing I want to also speak upon is, I know I talked about emails, I want to go back to that a little bit, is when you write your it could be either a fellow student or it could be your instructor. Make sure you write the email in a professional manner as a student. Make sure you put a heading, hey, Miss Susan, a body, and a closing. Just don't send an email with a body, with no signature, with no heading or introduction. That makes it even more tough for the instructor and or student to understand what message you're trying to get across. So that's a really important aspect of communication. And regarding grades, I know I touched upon this before, grades, assignment instructions, and so forth. If you're having trouble understanding, or maybe something's just not as clear as it should be, again, reaching out to your instructor is the best way possible. Or if you would like, you can also reach out to us. If you don't know your instructor's contact information, of course, it's always in the syllabus that you receive day one. You're more than welcome to reach out to us and we can help you facilitate that communication to your instructor and yourself. But a thing to consider is our instructors have a virtual open door policy. And that means is they are here to help you succeed in the online classroom. So don't be hesitant to reach out to them and talk with them. They're a real live person and not just some robot. I know some students think, where's my instructor? Is it just, a predetermined response being given, or is it automatically being graded? No, it's actually a real person sitting behind a computer screen. At this time, I want to turn it back over to Lamar. I think Lamar has wanted to speak upon a little bit about the homepage and about what services we offer our online students compared to our on-site students in traditional classroom and vice versa.
Right. And again, just to touch, because this is live, we don't have this rehearsed, so we're going to have to kind of pick up on a few things. When Dirk was talking about the importance of your student email account, one of the things that a lot of students don't realize is that within that student email account, you have a free copy of Microsoft Office. You have a free copy of Word, PowerPoint, Excel. It's all cloud-based. There's nothing to download. Once you log in, you'll see a link at the top left-hand corner of your email that allows you to click on it and open up a copy of Word, type your essay, type your report, type whatever it is you need. You can save it, you can download it, you can upload it into your class. So just realize that's a savings of probably $200 or $300 for you guys, that you don't have to go to Office Depot or Best Buy or wherever you might go and buy a copy of that. It's free. We give it to you as a student, but it's tied to your email account. So you have to get logged in to your email account. And as Dirk mentioned, the homepage, the way you get to your email address is you can go to the homepage of the Florence Darlington Tech website, mouse over the word students at the top left-hand corner, and you'll see links to everything you need as a student. You'll see links to WebAdvisor, you'll see links to D2L, you'll see links to your student email account, to WebAdvisor, whatever it is you need. You should be able to quickly get to it by going to the student link at the top left of our homepage. Once you get logged into D2L, one of the things that you'll notice is the news announcements. There are two home pages within D2L. One is the main home page that the online college controls, and it's basically an announcement area for the college's administration. We will put information out there about upcoming registration sessions. If it's inclement weather, we'll put information out there. And then anything else that the college feels like they need to get out to the students, because we have so many students who are using the Desire to Learn. Some are online college students, and some are students simply taking a course, and the faculty is uploading supplemental PowerPoint, supplemental lecture notes that students can have access to anytime. So that's the main homepage of the D2L. Once you click on your course, if you're taking an English course, a history course, a math course, whatever, and you click on that course, you'll then have a homepage for that course. And that's where your instructor will sometimes post weekly updates. Okay, guys, this is week 3, and here's what we're going to be doing. You've got a test to take, you've got a discussion board post that's due, and you've got your project that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Don't forget to work on it. So those news announcements, remember there's two different ones. There's one that's the college controls, and there's one that your instructor controls. So pay attention to that kind of stuff, because that will help you stay on track. When you know what your instructor is expecting the upcoming week, it can help you stay on track. So again, log in on a regular basis. The requirements for an online course are logging in at least once every 48 hours. But you can log in 2 or 3 times a day if you choose. There's no specific time that you have to log in. Just pay attention to your instructor's deadlines. For example, in the class that I teach, my students have until Sunday night at 11 p.m. to get all their work done with the exception of their initial discussion board post. I require students to post their initial discussion board post by Thursday evening. Well, why do you do that? Well, because I don't think it's fair to require students to work over the weekend. So if everybody has their initial post in by Thursday, other students can go in and respond to other students on Friday and take their weekends to relax if they choose to do that. So my class is a little bit different from other faculty members' classes, and students say, well, why do you do that? I know my other instructors do that. Well, because that's the way I choose to do it. So that's something that each student's going to have to pay attention to. And I will post an announcement on my news page, my home page about that the first week or two of class. So again, it's very important that you guys pay attention to those home pages.
Great, thank you, Lamar. You know, that's a great point Lamar mentioned is that home page in that news area. Please, you know, when you sign in, just don't automatically scroll to the bottom and look at, you know, your courses to, of course, click on that said course and start working. Take a few minutes every time you log into D2L and really pay attention to the homepage news announcements, such as what Mr. Lamar talked about. And why is that important? Why is that important to pay attention to the news area? For instance, you know, we're rolling out new features for the online college, such as digital magazines, online bookstore, and we try to update that news area of the main homepage at least once a week with new events or current events. So please do not skip over that feature on the homepage. Really take just a couple seconds and just scroll through and see if anything's new. And it's just for a little tip or hint for success in that. The most recent news announcement will be at the very top of the area, and it will funnel down in the order it was posted at. So you don't even have to take, you know, 30 seconds. You can just take 5 seconds and just look in that first news area and just get right on there. So I kind of want to move the discussion on student support or student services that you have available. Mr. Lamar spoke upon Microsoft Office Suite you have available via your student email account. But did you realize you have a lot of other great resources as an online student that you can access at the comfort of your home or in the lunchroom or in a coffee shop without ever stepping foot on this campus? One of the current new initiatives is digital magazines. So why is digital magazine important, or why do we make it available to you as an online student? You think, you know, magazine is sometimes more for leisure, and you necessarily might not need it for your classroom, but not really. The magazines, especially the magazines we have to offer, is a great resource for content, to learning about new subjects. For instance, if I'm not mistaken, we have a Business Week magazine. So if you're a business student, it's always great to read about current events. Just a little backstory. So Lamar spoke upon earlier. We both was a student, of course, in the past, but we're both business students. So it's important, if you're a business student, if you're an English student, if you're a psychology student, to pick up that latest magazine, just spend a couple minutes a week and flip through and see what's happening in the field. What new developments, what new theories, what new concepts, and here's the best part, what new industries are emerging. So if I pick up a psychology magazine or a business magazine or maybe an English-based magazine, it's a great reference for jobs. Maybe it talks about careers you want to get into, or maybe careers you didn't even know existed within the field. For instance, if I was a marketing major, I can work in the NFL. Well, how can I work in the NFL being a marketing major? I can't play football, or I can't be a doctor for a team doctor, but you can work in the marketing department of a football team. So picking up that latest literature really helps you explore your career possibilities, and a magazine within that field is a great way to further explore that area. So I want to turn it back over to Lamar now. I want to talk about library resources further, such as journals, where to find that on the D2L homepage, who to contact, and so forth.
Okay. On the homepage, we've created some links on the bottom left-hand corner of the menu, and it links to different areas that you have access to in our library online. And one of the SACS requirements says that students have to have access to the same materials online that they have on campus. And so, again, you have access to Microsoft Office on campus, so through your email, you have access to Microsoft Office in your email. When you need to access library resources, it doesn't make sense for a student who lives in Columbia to have to drive to Florence to access a business journal for an economics course. So those journals are now available online for students to access at their convenience. So in order to do that, you have to go through the links on the left-hand menu because of the security features that are built into those links. It ensures that you're one of our students and you have access to that material as a student. Outsiders who are not our students cannot access these online journals. Only students can. So there's some security built into these links and into these features. But again, it's a great resource. Now, how do I use a journal for a class? How do I access this stuff online? If you're struggling with it, you can pick up the phone and call the library. You can, if you happen to be on campus for some other class or for some other reason, stop by the library and they have somebody who can actually walk you through that system and show you. One of the things we're going to try to do over the next several months is to create some help videos for students so that they know how to access some of this stuff. But for the most part, if you see these links down on the left-hand bottom of the screen, you simply click on them. And it's going to take you in there, and you have access to business journals, to medical and biological type journals. If you're in nursing or some of the allied health areas, they have journals there. And then even just for literature classes, whether it's a volume or journal on poetry or nonfiction or whatever the case may be, you'll be able to access all of that through the links that we put on the FDTC D2L homepage.
Great, thank you, Lamar. That is some excellent advice. Another point of advice is with those services we offer online is you're also more than welcome during business hours to pick up the phone and talk with somebody, either a reference librarian or a student worker, and get further help with those electronic resources. So just for a little recap, with those services now, I mentioned we have the electronic magazines, Lamar mentioned the journal articles and books, and a whole bunch of other resources that you have available online. And if you ever have any questions about that, or maybe you see something that's not present online that you would like to have available to support your success in the classroom, please let your instructor know or give us an email. Again, that's d2l@fdtc.edu. Shoot us an email and tell us, hey, I'm not seeing this type of resources, or maybe I want further videos in this type of subject, and we will forward that message along to the appropriate department within the college, and we will try our best to get those resources available to you. That goes again with communication. Reach out. Let us know what you need to further support your success in the online classroom. We're here to help you. As Mr. Lamar mentioned, that's why our jobs exist, and that's why we get paid, is to support your success in the classroom and in the usages of D2L. So kind of continuing the discussion of student support resources we have available online, is I kind of want to talk about now tutor.com. Before I kind of move into the discussion about tutor.com, kind of want to just talk about the history of it, the backstory, where you can locate it, and then I'll move the discussion over to Mr. Lamar, and he can kind of talk about what is tutor.com, what services they have available, and how are students using it. So let's begin with the backstory. Tutor.com is an online tutoring company with master's and or PhD prepared tutors available in a host of subjects. Most of the subjects we offer via tutor.com is available 24/7. That means either if it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning. When you click that tutor button now for tutoring help, you will get access to a live tutor within 90 seconds. Now, there's some subjects that's not available 24/7. They're doing a pilot to offer them 24/7 to see how many tutors they need to support your success. So what are those subjects? Currently, it's nursing and social sciences, or i.e. psychology/sociology. So those subjects are available during limited hours, and you will find those hours when you click on the tutor link with either in the classroom. Your instructor will set up a folder that says tutor.com. You click on the folder, then you click on the link, and then a little drop box appears where you can pick a subject, a sub-subject such as math, and then maybe what's in math I need help with, such as algebra. There's a little entry field where you can type in a question or attach a document regarding maybe some problems, since we're on the discussion of math. Hit connect now, and within 90 seconds, you'll be connected to a live tutor. So it's really, really exciting. So how do you find this link if it's not in your classroom? This link is also available on the D2L homepage. On the right-hand side, you'll see a folder called tutor.com. You click on that folder, and then you click on the tutor.com link, and it'll automatically give you the prompt as I just described. You pick a subject, sub-subject, form field, type in a question, upload a question, and then you can get connected with the tutor in 90 seconds. So it's a really great service. So just going back about the history and background, like I mentioned before, it's 24/7 within most subjects, connect to a live tutor in 90 seconds. So how long can you stay on with the tutor? As long as you feel comfortable that you have gained knowledge of the subject matter. I always suggest to students, please connect with the tutor in the chat feature when you get into a tutoring session for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Please provide your tutor with the most information possible. Just don't go in there and say, can you fix this run-on sentence, or can you solve this math problem? Give the tutor the context of the assignment. Tell the tutor why you need that problem, that issue for the help, such as that sentence, why you're connecting with him or her. What is the subject about? What is the assignment about? And instead of just saying, help me with this one problem, help me with this one sentence, give him or her the whole sentence or the whole set of problems, and also the directions for that assignment to make sure the tutor provides you with the best available services possible. So again, that's free to you as a student. I recommend when you log into a tutoring session, you just don't log in for a minute or two and then get back out. Stay with that tutor for 15 or 20 minutes. The students that have taken advantage of tutor.com absolutely love tutor.com because it's available 24/7. It's including, of course, on the weekend, so it's a great resource. So we'll kind of turn over to Mr. Lamar and provide his input to tutor.com and what he's seeing with tutor.com and our usage and how it's furthering supporting student success.
Dirk gave you the background on how we came about it. Again, it's a SACS requirement that if we offer tutoring on campus, we offer tutoring online. Again, we can't require a student who lives in Charlotte to drive to campus to get some assistance with writing an English paper. We have to do something online for these students. So the college has bought several thousands of dollars worth of tutoring hours. And it's not broken up by subject, it's not broken up by student, it is just a general pool of hours. And students, as Dirk said, can log in to tutor.com simply by clicking on the link within the course. You don't have to create a separate account, you have to create a different password. All you have to do is go into your online course or onto your class that's on campus, look for the link on the left-hand menu that says tutor.com, click on it, and it will say, welcome Bill, welcome Mary, welcome Vanessa, whatever it is. What subject do you need assistance with today? And there's a drop-down menu. And if you need help with math, you simply click math. It will then take you to a sub-menu. Do you need help with algebra, with calculus, with statistics? What do you need help with? And they break it down so that they know which tutor to send you to. And again, as Dirk said, they probably are going to need some context. Now, before we get that far, this is not a live video session with a tutor. This is more of a chat session and a whiteboard. So what will happen is you'll be taken into a tutor room with a tutor, and you'll be typing information on the screen. You may be able to upload a Word document if it's an English essay, and let them take a look at the document, and then they can make suggestions for you. They are not allowed to rewrite anything for you. They are not allowed to actually solve problems for you that are required for your homework. If you upload a math problem when they add fractions and you're trying to figure out how do I add fractions, they're going to probably rewrite those fractions in a different fraction so as to not give you the answers that you are required to do as a student doing homework. But the sessions, as Dirk said, can last as long as you need them to last. We have some students that log in and spend about 15 minutes and they're done. They got what they needed. They understand how they made a comma splice error, and they move on. Other students are working through some math problems and they have to spend more time. They may spend 30, 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour in a tutor session. Um, so what happens once you're done? Do we send your name and information to your instructor? No, we don't. That is confidential. We will get reports from tutor.com that will tell us we had 50 sessions of students in the math tutoring. We had 20 sessions of students in English, but they do not pass along names or ID numbers for any of this. Now, what do we do with that? We can take that information and we can send it to the department heads so that they know that 25 students needed tutoring in fractions and decimals. What does that do for them? Maybe they need to go back over that in the classroom and cover that a little bit better. Maybe they need to look at the homework problems they're requiring. Maybe they need to look at the lecture material they're providing. If students are struggling with something over and over and we pick up on it from the tutor.com site, we can then again improve the classwork. We can improve the teaching. We can improve a lot of things that might be going on as it relates to the learning that's taking place in the class. Again, our goal here at the college is to help you guys learn and be successful. And if that means revamping a course, if that means changing the way we've done things, we're more than willing to do that. We're not going to just do something because that's the way we've always done it. If it's not working right, we need to go in, we need to modify it, we need to make it better. So this tutor.com is one of the ways that we can help. Now, does it work? Well, based on what the students who have taken it have said, absolutely it does. We have about a 97, 98% satisfaction rate, sometimes as high as 99 when we get our monthly or bi-monthly reports. So it works. If you've never tried it, I would encourage you to log on and just see what you can come up with. Just try a session. Just tell the tutor that you're not real sure exactly how it works. You wanted to test it out and see, and they will be more than happy to help you learn how to use the tools that they have. But again, the satisfaction coming from the students who have used it has been extremely good. The comments have said, this is the best thing Florence-Darlington Tech has ever offered. I can't wait to use it again. This has been very, very beneficial for me. I do not think we've seen in the 6 or so months we've been using, I do not think we've seen one negative comment about tutor.com. So it's been very, very positive, and we would encourage you to take advantage of it. It does not cost you a dime, and we've spent tens of thousands of dollars on this to buy enough hours so that you guys can take advantage of it. So again, give it a shot, see what you think.
No, that's a great point that you mentioned, Lamar, right now, is with the not having one negative comment. Just, thinking about what product do you buy multiple times over and never have a negative experience about? It's very few. So that's a really good point to throw out there, saying that it's actual students here at Florence-Darlington out of hundreds of tutoring sessions that they love the services. One thing I want to mention before we close the session on tutor.com and move on to another topic is the Success Center. We also have the Success Center here on campus. It's open, if I'm not mistaken, from 8 to 6. They vary their hours depending upon midterms and final exams. But that's another great area you can come in and to get help. Try both out. Try on-site tutoring, try online tutoring. Of course, if you're not within the greater Florence area, please use tutor.com. That helps saves you a car trip. I know Lamar and I were both students one time. If we could save money on gas, to have more money to buy food and entertainment, that definitely helps. So, but again, I just want to mention we do have a Success Center here on campus, so please take advantage of that. And they offer a wealth of information and services. And another great point about the Success Center here on campus, they offer D2L support. So if you're unsure about where to find the Dropbox, where to find a discussion board, how do I post something, something's not appearing, go to the Success Center on campus as well, or of course you can drop by our offices. And talking about that, we recently moved offices. We are now in the office suite 5214. So where is that located? That's located in the 5000 building, which is the main building on campus. That's the one with the water fountain in front of it, the 3 cool water features. In particular, since we are in office suite 5214, we're in the 2nd floor. And it's an office suite, so please stop on by. No appointment needed. Both Lamar and I have an open door policy, so just stick your head in and ask any questions you may think of or need help with. So since you're joining this webinar, just kind of give you an outlook and maybe a teaser what's going to happen about student support services is we're also going to add an area on the D2L homepage of Veterans Affairs. That's going to include a host of forms and informative information if you served in the military prior, if you're continuing to serve with us, either or, thank you for your service first and foremost. And we're going to offer the electronic features of Veterans Affairs. Mr. Max Welch, he is over Veterans Affairs here on the main campus, and we have been working with him over the last couple of weeks to offer those services as well electronically to you. Like I said, if you're in the military, if you've retired out of the military, either or, it does not matter. We're going to have that up for you as a student here because we want to support your success. And in addition to that, there's going to be continuing improvements and student support services in the classroom. So just as a recap, we're kind of about halfway through. Again, this is a hour 15-minute session. We'll probably end it around 9:10 or so forth. We've talked about thus far, both Lamar and I, we've talked about communication aspects. We talked about within communication, emails, phones. And we also talked about tutoring support. Why is it important to get tutoring support? We talked about the D2L homepage, the great information on the D2L homepage. And I kind of want to move now the discussion over to the textbook side of the resources. Do you need a textbook for online classes? Where do I get my textbook? How do I find what textbook to get? Can I order it online? Can I order it over the phone? So just a whole bunch of questions that we're going to answer right now, and I'll let Lamar speak upon that, as he loves literature and he loves reading. So I'll definitely delay that question to Lamar to speak upon.
Yeah, with textbooks, most of you, when you get a textbook, is probably not the most enjoyable reading you do. However,
I love the textbook. It's great reading.
Different strokes for different folks, right? But one of the main questions students ask us is, do I have to have a textbook for this class? And the answer is 99 times out of 100, yes, you do. There may be a couple of courses that might be more literature based, where you can find a majority of material online, maybe a history class where you can find a majority of material online, but you typically are going to need a textbook for your class. For example, Dirk and I both teach business classes, and I'm teaching a selling class right now. And my students are required, number one, to do a list of definitions every week. After every chapter, I pick 10, 15, 20 words, whatever I deem appropriate, and I have students look up the definition, type it in Word, and upload it to the Dropbox. Why do I do that? Well, students are not going to naturally just open up the textbook and read it if they're not required to. And given a list of definitions for students to look up, number one, it forces you to open and read the textbook. Number two, it helps you become familiar with the material that we're studying. Number three, it helps you prepare for your quizzes. And number four, it helps you as you respond to the discussion board. So for my class, students have to do a few things each week. They have to do a definitions list, they have to take a quiz, and they have to post to the discussion board. Well, if they do it properly, they'll do their definitions first. They get familiar with the material. Secondly, They can do the quiz or the discussion board and have those terms familiar with them in the back of their mind, so that as they're taking the quiz and they think about a topic that we've covered in the text, it helps them go through the quiz a little bit quicker, as opposed to flipping pages back and forth, trying to find the term, trying to find the answer to that question. It comes to them a little quicker. At least that's what they've told me when they give me evaluations and feedback for my course. And then when the discussion board, one of the things that I think students need to understand is when you're applying to an instructor's discussion board post, they're not necessarily looking for your opinion. They're looking for some type of evidence that you've read the material, you understand the material, and you're answering that question in your own words. Now, one of the things I encourage my students to do is when they respond, if I'm asking them a question about how do you try to sell your company or your product to somebody who's just simply rejecting everything you're throwing at them, they can in turn say, on page 197 of the text, the author states the 3 methods for turning a negative sales solution around are. And then they can list those 3 solutions, those 3 steps to turn it around. And then they can tell me, if I were in this position, I would try this one, and this one in order to turn that negative sales around. That shows me as an instructor that you have actually read the textbook, that you're looking for solutions to the problems that we're giving you guys. And in my case, that's going to score a higher grade in a discussion board than a student who just says, I think this, that, and the other. Showing evidence of the textbook in your answer, for me as an instructor and as for other instructors, is key to getting that higher grade. If you want to get a C or a B, post your opinion and that might be what you get. But if you're looking to accelerate to the next level, to possibly an A on your post, show the instructor some evidence that you've actually read the textbook. If you really want to get some brownie points, post a link to a website that actually supports what you're saying, what you're arguing in that discussion board. Post a clip from YouTube. Say, hey, according to this video clip in YouTube, one of the most important things a salesman can do to initiate a cold call is, and watch the video clip. Instructors love to see that you're going beyond the basics. Instead of just regurgitating what you've read in the textbook, show them that you've gone above and beyond that, and you've researched something in the Wall Street Journal, Forbes magazine, YouTube, some other website. It always helps. Now, some of you are going to say, well, what about if my financial aid doesn't come in and I can't get the textbook within the first 2 weeks of class? Well, we try to have a copy of most of the textbooks available in the library. Now, again, if you live in Charlotte, we can't take a textbook and photograph all the pages and upload it for you to use free. There's copyright issues there. But if you can get to campus until your financial aid comes through, you can get that textbook and you can use it in the library. They keep them on reserve, which means you cannot check it out and take it home, because if you do that, then the next student can't use it. If 2 of you go in at the same time, you can sit at the table together and share the textbook if you need to. But they're available for you in the library. So again, this is a little off topic, but those of you who might be applying for financial aid, do it quick. Do it now. Get your taxes done now. Get your parents to get their taxes done now, and go ahead and apply for that financial aid, so that when classes start for the fall semester in August, you're not scrambling around at the last minute because you've been selected for verification. You got to go track down a lot of paperwork and turn it into financial aid. If you're selected for verification in May or June, you've got plenty of time to get it all done and have your money waiting on you when you go to pay your tuition, when you go to check your textbooks or whatever. So again, bottom line is, always assume that you need a textbook. If you find out that you don't, hey, you just saved some money. But take your schedule to the bookstore, say, this is my schedule, can you show me which books I need? Purchase the books. If you want to sit on those textbooks for a few days and see if you actually need them, do so. and then maybe you can take them back to the bookstore and see if they can buy those books back. If they're unopened, if they're opened and you've started marketing them, they're yours. They're yours. So that's just a general overview of textbooks for the classes.
Now, Lamar, if talking about textbooks, if I don't have my textbooks the first week of class, should I drop my classes?
I would not drop my classes.
Okay.
Again, remember what we talked about earlier: communication, communication, communication. The first week of class is critical for students to get started. One of the things I will do, if you find yourself in a bind, financially speaking, you've been selected for verification, you can't get your information quickly enough, send your instructor an email. It's happened to me as an instructor. A student sends me an email, Mr. Youngner, I don't have my textbooks, my financial aid hasn't come in. As long as you communicate with me, I will work with you to a certain point. I cannot give you a month and a half to get your textbooks. There's no way you can catch up that much material. But if it looks like your textbooks or your financial aid will be there in about 5 to 7 days and you'll have your textbook at that point, I'll be more than happy to work with you. And I think most of our faculty would do the same thing. So again, if we don't know that you're having a problem and you don't turn in your assignments because you don't have a textbook, you're going to get zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard to recover from zeros. So the first day or two of class, log in, send that instructor an email, say, here's my situation, would you please work with me? And 99 times out of 100, they're going to say, sure, I'll work with you within a reasonable time frame.
That's a really good point, Lamar. So talking about textbooks, I want to see a raise of hands, or we'll do a virtual raise of hands. I'll raise my hand up first here. Who likes to save money buying textbooks? Can everybody hand raise? There we go. I know, we talked about, we're students before, and, we love saving money to help with other, college expenses. One thing is you might not be aware of is the bookstore has digital textbooks, and you can rent digital textbooks. So what does renting a digital textbook means? Depending upon the publisher, normally you'll have access to that textbook for a short period of time, roughly a couple of months or the semester, and then you'll have access to that content. So what is the savings? 60% normally is the average savings of renting a digital textbook. To me, that's a pretty good saving. What do you think? That's a good savings. And also, that kind of helps is, let's say you have a really busy schedule and you're having a job that travels a lot, and maybe you can't have a book delivered because you might not be at home, or you're on the road because of your work or church or social responsibilities. Having that digital textbook, you can pull it up right here on your cell phone, on a tablet, on a laptop computer, and you can have access to that textbook anytime you want to. I wish, Lamar, that I had digital textbooks when I went to school. How about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I left home on the weekend or whatever, and then I was thinking, man, I forgot my textbooks in my dorm, in my apartment. How am I going to finish my work? But if they are digitally, you always have them with you. So that's just a point, I wanted to touch upon is, we have digital textbooks available. So what do you do if you're sure, like, how do I get a digital textbook? How do I access a digital textbook? Our bookstore, we have a great staff there at our bookstore. Bob Guerin, he's a bookstore manager, and also Terry, she facilitates textbooks purchases and so forth. Their offices in the back of the bookstore. Please tell them hello. Also, any of the staff in the front desk or around the aisles can help you purchase a digital textbook or just answer a question about a textbook. Some questions I get from students, little FAQ is a digital textbook the same as a paper textbook? Yes, it is. It's the same content. Is the modality, or i.e. form of the textbook different? Yes, because it's digital and not hard copy. Before we move off the topic of textbooks, I just want to briefly talk about access codes. If you take a psychology class online, if you take a math class online, you're going to need a textbook and also a code to access that extended features. So please be aware, for instance, our psychology classes, they're facilitated through a psychology learning management system like D2L, and to get access to that, you have to purchase a code. Again, that can all be purchased through our bookstore. So I kind of want to leave you with the question here is, in the end, Lamar, do we need textbooks for online classes?
Yes.
Yes, you do. You need textbooks. That's one of the biggest things Lamar and I both see is not having a textbook for your class. That's almost akin of not having a driver's license to drive your car. You can't drive a vehicle without having a driver's license. You can't take an online class without having a textbook. It's a key and very critical component to your success in the online classroom is having that textbook. So we're running out of time here. We only have roughly about 10 or 11 minutes left. I'll give a brief discussion on what I see for success in your online classroom based upon my experience as a student and also in the professional world. Looking at online education, and Lamar kind of will do the same, just to kind of give you some hints and tips on how to succeed. So what is my biggest tip or hint to succeed in the classroom? And I'm giving you this from personal experience and also from a professional manner from best practices in online education, is I want to talk about scheduling. How do I have a schedule for an online class? Or another phrase for that is, how do I manage my time for an online class? When I was a student taking classes online, I set aside, now keep in mind everybody's schedule is different, of course, that's why we're taking online classes, is I set aside every Wednesday and every Friday. I know I had a wild Friday, Friday nights, I sat down and did my work, but that was the time I had to do it. So every Wednesday and Friday, I sat down and I did my online work. I didn't deviate from that schedule because it's real easy to procrastinate in an online class and say, I'll do it the next day, I'll do it the next day, I'll do it the next day. And the next day turns into weeks, and then weeks turns into the end of the semester, and then you have missed a whole bunch of assignments. So the biggest takeaway I want to give you is time management skills, how to succeed. So within that, I'm only have a couple minutes left. I want to talk about how do you have proper time management skills. Either print out the electronic calendar in D2L, or simply get a old-fashioned piece of paper or a calendar, a paper calendar, and go down and simply write all your assignments, write the due dates, and check them off when you get to them and or complete them. That keeps you on task and kind of keeps you aware of where you are in the class and what you have to succeed. So again, if you pick a day, and it couldn't maybe not be a day, maybe it's a time during the day, maybe it's your lunch hour, maybe it's in the morning before you go to work, or maybe it's in the evening when things are kind of settling down a little bit. You have the chance and you have your schedule either in an electronic format or in a paper format, that you have the assignments listed, what's due this week, and what you need to get accomplished. And that's kind of the best way to succeed in an online class, is having that schedule, because I hear quite a bit, I didn't realize I had a test yesterday, can I make it up? That's totally dependent upon the instructor. Our instructors are quite flexible, but please keep in mind that if you missed an assignment, either you will not be able to make it up or you will receive reduced credit for that assignment, because it's not fair to your peers that you've had an extra day or week to complete a task. So I want to turn it on over to Lamar and kind of give his personal tip and professional tip on how to succeed in an online class while we wrap up this first session.
Okay. Yeah, there's a saying out there that says, if you've done what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten. And that's very true in education. If you say, well, I wasn't a good student in high school, or I went to college a few years ago and I just didn't do real well. Well, if you get right back into the same habit of doing things the way you did them when you weren't successful, where do you think that's going to lead you? You won't be successful this time. So sometimes you have to look back at, how did I do it in the past that did not work? And what can I do to change that in the future? And as Dirk said, sometimes it's just something as simple as finding a block of time where you can sit down and focus on your studies. In the digital world that we live in, the reality is there are going to be distractions everywhere. It's going to be the television.
I just got a tweet on my Facebook just a minute after
There we go.
my schoolwork. That my friend just posted he's going out to a concert.
See? So in the middle of trying to memorize your terms for your history exam, that phone's going to do that. It's going to ding, it's going to whistle, it's going to ring, it's going to do whatever. And it's going to distract you. And if you didn't do well last semester, and you know, if you think back, that it's got something to do with the distractions, you got to get rid of the distractions some way, shape, or form. You got to manage your time. I know that everybody's working a part-time job. Some of you are working full-time jobs. Some of you have family. Some of you have spouses. Some of you have kids. You have all kinds of responsibilities. But the bottom line is, as the old saying goes, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, and it's not going to happen that way. You have to change the way you do things if you weren't successful in the past. So do what you can do to try to become a different student than you were when you were not successful. So take some time to think about this process. What do I need to do different? What do I need to do to minimize the distractions? What do I need to do to improve upon where I didn't do well last semester, last year, last whatever it was? Don't do it the same way you've always done it and expect it to turn out differently if it wasn't successful. Now, if you were very successful in the past, then hey, keep doing what you were doing. But so many times we hear from students, well, I just wasn't a good student in high school. Well, I just didn't do well in high school. Well, I just couldn't. Well, part of the problem is because you weren't successful. It causes you to say, I've got to change. I've got to change the way I did it. I've got to change the way I was doing it in the past. I've got to refocus. I've got to readjust. I've got to do things in a way that's going to make me successful in the future. So that's my suggestion to you. If there's something we can do to help, you send us an email at d2l@fdtc.edu. Put your name, your ID number, and your comments, your questions, your concerns, whatever it may be, or pick up the phone and give us a call and say, here's what I'm having difficulty with. If we can't fix it, we'll find somebody who can help you with whatever you're struggling with. Again, it might take a little extra time, might take a little extra effort. You may have to drive in from Sherrall. You may have to drive in from somewhere else. But hey, it just depends on how bad you want it. Do you want it or do you not want it? If you want it, you'll do whatever it takes to get it done. If you don't want it, there's not much we can do to help you with that.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Lamar. Is reaching out again. We began this YouTube live stream regarding communication, and it's a great point to end it on. If you don't tell your online instructor what you need to be successful in the online class, he or she won't know. For instance, Lamar and I work in the same office suite. If I don't tell Lamar tells me, hey, Dirk, we need to take care of this, or hey, Lamar, we need to take care of this, we won't know. We won't communicate. We're not mind readers. We have to communicate. And sometimes, as what I touched upon before, sometimes an email isn't the best way to communicate. Maybe you need to pick up the phone and call your instructor, depending upon your concern or question you may have. So that's all relevant, important information. So just as a recap before we end this whole session, we've talked about communication, we've talked about student success, we've talked about saving money by buying rented textbooks digitally, and we shared our own personal experiences with you guys on how to succeed in an online class. So we're going to kind of do a part 1/part 2 of this session beginning at 9:30 via our YouTube page again. So we will be ending this live stream, and at 9:30ish we will start up again. So please log in, and we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.